I am so delighted you're here. You're listening to peacepodcast.org, and we are going to celebrate a beautiful woman I met on the Rotary E Club of World Peace. And if you look at her, you'll see why I'm so excited. What does it say atop of her head? Let's be peace. Yes, let's be peace. And so Peace Podcast is brought to you on a weekly basis for peace, happiness, and mutually assured survival. Think about those words. Mutually assured survival.world is a good place for you to go if you need inspiration about how you can survive in some of the challenges we have today. But I want to introduce our guest today. First of all, welcome, Karen Lee Coihen.
Thank you.
It's an honor that you are here. I'm glad you could make time. This woman, Karen Lee, is a regional Emmy award-winning producer. Now, that's quite a mouthful. And then the executive director and programs for the programs at WNBC TV in New York, and founder and president of Crystal Pyramid Productions. But what I'm excited about is Let's Be Peace, as she has behind you. If you look at her book, an award-winning book, Let's Be Peace, 20 unique paths to healing yourself and spreading peace in the world. 2023 NEIA award-winning author. It's about time. My award-winning TV show, Adventure Links at HT, I'm going to give that at the end. You will be able to see why she is what I call an inspiration. Many people, when we were during the pre-interview, she said, many people want to know, how do you win an Emmy? And she said, I do what I love. I have passion. And it worked, but there's more to it than that. So let's get right to why we do peacepodcast.org. What inspired you to be a champion for peace, Miss Coihen?
It's Cohen.
Cohen.
Yeah. It really goes back when I became aware of it. I think I was probably born with it, but I really became aware of it about 20 years ago. I was working for the wonderful singer Jewel, and her mom wrote a book called Architecture of All Abundance. And in that book, she said, we will find peace in the world when we are peaceful, one person at a time. And I just resonated with it. It hit me. And so I started writing all of my social media, sign in hashtag be peace. And in a conversation with one of my nieces, she said, that's too demanding. And I had just been in a workshop with a wonderful woman named Dorothy Lee Donahue. And she talked about how when she was working, she always said to people, let's do this. And so I added "Let's Be Peace" to the signature, and that really felt more correct, and that felt more on target with the message. So that's some 20 years ago, and at the same time, I was already working on launching a alternative health and complementary health and wellness channel. Which for a variety of reasons has not yet happened. I never give up on anything. But when I decided that, well, first I wrote my memoir, which is that's the one where I got the NEIA award for. That we've put up Let's Be Peace at the we won't know until June whether or not we have an award for that one. But when I wrote my memoir, I talked about the very end of it, I talked about my healing journey and my spiritual journey. And I knew I was going to do a book to follow that up. And long story short, or shorter, when it came to writing the book, I realized I needed to invite the people who are the authorities in those modalities to be in the book, which is why there are 20 remarkable contributors.
That's the book that's right behind you.
That's the Let's Be Peace 20 unique paths to healing yourself and spreading peace in the world. And so everyone in the book talks about spreading peace, what Let's Be Peace means to them, and what Let's Be Peace, how they can help people be peace.
Yes.
Everyone addresses that, and then the rest of their interview, they talk about their modality. So you get the health and the healing, but you also get a unique perspective on being peace from each one of them.
Well, I so appreciate you sharing these books with me. Let's Be Peace is hard to put down because there's so many ideas that can resonate with my soul and my body because I want to live a long life, and we all do, but we have to be the peace that other people need. And you started today with something very powerful. You said you heard, or did you read her book? This, how you became aware that peace is possible. Your mentor that got you on the path to peace is exactly why I want you as my guest, because I know many people are struggling to get on a path to peace. And if they hear you and that in your experience, that peace is something that, let me have you finish that sentence. Peace is something
that each one of us can promote by being peaceful ourselves. One of the big messages I want people to embrace is that there is nothing extraordinary you need to do. In order to be peace, it starts with peace inside of you. And one of the things that we offer on our website is some tips to being peace. And they're all things that you can do eternally. So what I like to tell people is if you can go out and you can promote peace, but you're achieving by just being peaceful. And I must admit that I have found that in my life. I have found, I mean, even when I met you in the Rotary Club World Peace Organization podcast, there were people who said they felt more peaceful just hearing me. And that's what makes my heart sing when I know that the idea of being peace not only is something that I believe in, but that I can be an example of. And I totally admit I'm not there 24/7. I'm there more than I used to be, but it's something that is a process that I work on every day.
But we all have things to do. We all have challenges, and we continue to work for peace. And I take every opportunity, even in the Trader Joe's parking lot, to talk about peace. And I learned the hard way on that one because I said, I'm working on ending war. And this woman just went ballistic on me. And she said, War, I hate war. Why are you talking about war? And I said, Oh, I'm sorry. Let me just stop a minute. I want to ask you a question about peace. What do you think we can do to be peace? And the whole conversation changed because I changed my tone. I changed my life from peace. Have you found that in your life when you have all these challenges to work
Totally.
through?
One of the things I think is resonating to people from the book is that we're not talking about we never use the W word. We never talk about war. We're talking about being peace inside and spreading peace by being peace. And I really do believe, I mean, that the only way we are going to find world peace, total peace, is by everybody deciding we want to be peaceful. And when you and I are peaceful and the people we meet are peaceful, we can't have a non-peaceful world because each one of us are responsible. We're very, very powerful. One of the things I hope people get from the book is that we are so powerful. We can be our own best healer. There's so much that we can do to spread good health and peace. And the concept is when we are peaceful, we'll be healthier. And when we're healthier, we will be more peaceful.
Absolutely, because there's nothing worse than a health challenge to keep your peace at the back door because you're so worried about the health challenge. And that seems to be a turning point for you. When you had a health challenge, you shared with me I'll let you finish that. My health challenge helped me.
Well, it helped me I was already working on doing an alternative health and wellness channel with a wonderful group of people. And when I stopped to think, well, why is this happening to me? Because I've had pretty good health practices for a long time. And one of the things that for a long time have expressed skepticism about the general healthcare system. I totally believe that doctors and nurses and everybody in the field are extraordinary people, and they're all there doing the best they can do. I believe it's the bureaucracy that has made it difficult for them to do to do some of the things that are more helpful, and the whole concept that one therapy fits all, that I have believed for a very, very long time is not correct. By going through the health challenge that I went through and going through the hospital and the emergency and all that, I was able for the first time to be able to speak from personal experience.
Yes.
So now when I talk about it, it is, I mention in both books, my memoir, the first book and the Let's Be Peace. Now that I had an experience, when I talk to people, I can, I cannot talk universally, but I can tell you what I observed. And one of the things that I observed when I was in ICU is that these were all very, young nurses who were, fairly newly out of college, and they knew nothing about nutrition. And they were looking to find out more information. So a friend of mine who visited a lot, and I taught them about nutrition. Spoke. We didn't teach them. We spoke to them about nutrition. We spoke to them about being peaceful. We spoke to them about holistic health. We spoke to them about acupuncture and um,
You became the teacher.
well, to a degree, and it proved to me that in fact the system is, if not broken, is has holes in it. And so when I speak about peace and holistic health and wellness, I'm speaking more from an experience. And so, I mean, I believe, because I have cosmic beliefs in my angels and my guides, that's why I went through the experience, so I could be more authoritative based on what happened.
That's
Uh,
why I love your book, Let's Be Peace, because you describe some of those toward the end of the book, right? Some of the
yes.
new modalities. And I'm a firm believer in new modalities.
Well, throughout the Let's Be Peace books, there's new modalities. Um, and through the memoir, the last two chapters are about that. So it's kind of like one is kind of a sequel to the other, but
Yeah.
they pretty much stand alone.
It's so fascinating, our life journey. I'm working on my autobiography and I'm falling back in love with my life. And as I go through what I have been through, from living in a very humble cabin in Costa Rica with the Assistant Secretary General, my husband, and saying, holy cow, I wish I had an oven. I didn't even have an oven, but I did have love. And love took me into the place where I needed to be, because there was a uh, beautiful way that we lived, because our money was not being spent on militaries. It was a demilitarized country. And all the people in the country were able to get health care for free. They were able to get education for free. And that meant that they became more of who they were. They weren't worried about some of the things that we worry about. But you have a beautiful way that you have described your life. And I'm going to go and tell people I'm reading It's About Time, my award-winning TV adventure. Tell us about that and how you wrote your own autobiography and how long did it take you. And I love the part where you ask people, what do you have an experience with me that I can put in the book? I thought that was wonderful.
And I give my angels credit for that. I don't know where that came from, but
It's
suddenly I thought I
what
have
I
that.
turned to in each chapter. What did somebody say about you?
Before I even started to write the book, I came up with the idea to invite colleagues and friends and relatives to send me, different incidents that they remember. And it's really fun now to look back because they remember something a little bit differently than I remember it. But it was during the pandemic. And I'm very involved with my alma mater, which is Columbia College in Chicago.
Uh-huh.
And I'm on the alumni board, and we were having a Zoom meeting with some of the graduating seniors. And something told me to put one of my Emmys on my desk so that they could see it. And of course, that started a lot of conversation. And a couple of them said, "Oh, Karen, you've got to write a book about how to win an Emmy." And I said, "Well, you really can't write a book about how to write an Emmy. Number one, they wouldn't let you use the word Emmy, which I double checked, and that's true. You can't use that in title. And number two, you really can't quantify it. I don't know how I won the Emmys. I just did the best job I could do." And I was in the fortunate position where I could put them up for Emmys. But in that course, I decided, it was finally time for me to write my memoir. Many people had said that because I had some wonderful experiences when I was very young with Bob Hope, and which some of your listeners will know and some won't, and Rod Serling and Della Reese, and who is one of the dearest people
You
I've.
have, yeah, these are all the people you have been working with. And what makes me read your memoir and keep reading is because it's so personal yet so powerful. I keep getting things that I can do from your memoir. And I think that's kind of the purpose, that is the purpose of these podcasts, to bring people into their own power, into their own destiny. Did you feel as you were getting these TV shows together and winning these Emmys? I'm on my destiny, my path of destiny. My path is before me.
No.
You sound like
No,
Gorbachev. When I said to Gorbachev, would you like to be the chancellor of the University for Peace? No.
well, it's interesting because the reason I titled the book "It's About Time" is that's what I said when I won my first Emmy, because I had been nominated so many times.
Oh, that's
Before I won, that
interesting.
was when I was still in Chicago before I moved to New York. So it's about time my award-winning TV adventure. I mean, that's not exactly what I said, but that's what it felt like. It's about time because I had probably been nominated 15 or 20 times, and that was maybe not that much, but at least 10. And so when I went up to get the award, I went, it's about time.
Oh, that's fantastic. I remember Jack Canfield in his Chicken Soup for the Soul. He said, you don't know how many times I was turned down. And finally, and I think this is a key, keep going. When you're turned down or you're not awarded for something, it doesn't mean you're not great. It just means there's a lot of competition out there.
Yes. Yeah. And there's a lot. Well, even before I became program director, I had applied for four other positions before I got the one in New York, which of course was the best one for me. But
Yes.
I was there for 8 years. So I can't say that it was, well, I've got this down pat. I just kind of put one foot again in front of the other.
It's like life is a path, and it's not always the same path, and we adjust. And you're a very positive person, and I see you continuing to work in this field of peace. Well, what are some of the habits you have that keep you on the peace path daily?
Well, I'm going to encourage everyone to go to the website and download the complimentary PDF copy of the tips, the Let's Be Peace tips, and then that's really one of the things that I do before I even get out of bed is I usually listen to a guided meditation. I always, before I go to bed and when I wake up, I always do my gratitudes. And this is something that's evolved. I haven't done that all my life, but I certainly for the last 8 years, so I do my gratitudes. And just before I get out of bed, remember all the people's places, things that I have to be grateful for. I journal every day, which I think is very cathartic for me. I have a yoga practice. I have a wonderful friend who gave me a 10-minute yoga practice that I do at home. So I do that in the morning. So usually before I even check my email, sometimes I have to check. But I do all of that first thing in the morning, and that helps me s stay in peace, throughout the day. And then, part of the other tips is, I have people who I call my teammates, and those are the practitioners, and then I have a holistic doctor who I absolutely adore. And I have, the different practitioners, and what I've learned to do is to trust my GPS, although sometimes I have a wonderful friend named Corinne who I'll call and say, okay, this is what I'm feeling. Just tell me if I'm okay. She's
Yes.
very, very good at getting messages from the angels and guides and listening and hearing them. But it's paying attention and trusting what I call my GPS system, which is intuition, that, yeah, I really am okay. There's nothing to
That's
be
so
worried about.
interesting. I kind of feel like I know something sometimes. I know, and I have to check in, even though I know. It's takes a peaceful attitude in order to check in. And sometimes you have to get in your car because that may be the only place you have quiet and you're alone. So you get in your car. I've done that sometimes on at a busy meeting. I'll go back to my car and just sit for a minute. What's going on now? What am
Okay.
I to do? How can I be the peace in this? And that's why I wrote the book Revolutionary Conversations, because I felt there were conversations that you get caught up in and you didn't have the control and the ideas that could nurture both of you for peace. So my book Revolutionary Conversations has those 5 tips: stop, help, ask, risk, and explore. And you carry it with you, share, stop, help, ask, risk, and explore. But sometimes you have to explore yourself first before you can even talk to another person. And so sometimes when I go into the car and I sit and I think, geez, I'm so lucky to be here. I'm alive in this moment when the world needs me. What's my next step? What's my message? And I do call on my dear husband, Robert Mueller, to maybe kind of give me a message. And you have to be quiet to do that, right? I kept getting that in your books that you're very aware of the veil. It's very important that the angel, and we all have these guardian angels.
I know that now. I didn't know that 25 years ago, but I know that now. Yeah.
Well, because I was raised a Catholic, we always prayed to guardian angel, heavenly help me to be who I am, and la la la. We would say, angel of God, my guardian dear, to whom God love commits me here, ever this day be at my side, to tell whatever. And every time I miss somebody on a pedestrian path, or a car doesn't hit me, I say, thank you, guardian angel. I must have a purpose. Thank you, guardian angel. I'm always thanking my guardian angels because I put them through the task and I make them work overtime. So anyway, your book, Let's Be Peace, your autobiography is about It's About Time, are just books that you need to put on your bedside table. When you wake up and you don't have an idea and you're not sure where the world is going, open up Let's Be Peace. Any page will do. You will find inspiration no matter what your thinking is, and you will change. You will become that peace that Karen has told us we can be. So let's say now we want people to go and find out more about you. What website would you like them to go to?
Letsbepeace.com.
That's fantastic. And your book, it's about,
Sign up to be in the Let's Be Peace movement, which is something that is starting to
oh,
get
talk about that a couple of seconds. Let's Be Peace movement.
right. And when I was first writing the book, a wonderful friend who has helped who has helped me tremendously with branding Let's Be Peace. She said, Karen, this is not a book. This is a movement.
Ah,
He also designed the cover, and it just again it was the guides coming through her, and I know that it's a movement. So when people sign, go to my go to the letsbepeace.com website, sign up and get a free PDF copy of the peace tips, and then we'll have your email address. And when we start, one of the things I'm hoping to do is a monthly peace meeting where everybody, just comes and talks about peace, talks about what they're going through, how they will find peace. And then soon I'll be starting a Let's Be Peace podcast. But that has not started yet. But what you can do right now is you can sign up. So we have your email address. Give us get the peace tips, and they're things that people know, but it's a lot of people who have downloaded said, I forgot about that. So
yeah.
that, it's a reminder. So
And that reminds me, people who are watching today on peacepodcast.org, our newsletter comes out every week after I interview or have a conversation with fabulous guests like Karen. And in order for you to receive that, you need to join our peacepodcast.org, and it says join now or become a member. And there's no fees. It's just to make us feel that we are being mentioned in our thoughts and our words, and then in the inspiration from people like Karen. Karen, at the end of my podcast, I always ask for, what would you like our world to be in 20 years from now? Do you have a dream for our world?
that we all love and trust ourselves.
love, and trust ourselves. Two words that I think should be in everybody's morning wake up. I love and I trust myself. Think
Yeah.
about that. Thank you, Karen. Karen, it's just been an absolute pleasure. You know, you have a fan in me because I can't stop reading everything you've written. And we met on Rotary, and I think Rotary has the potential to eventually bring peace to our world. If I just spoke to a Washington, D.C. Rotary Club, and I said, imagine Rotary bringing permanent peace to our planet with the 35,000 clubs that are around the world. So anyway, Karen, I think Let's Be Peace is our community opportunity to bring peace to our communities. And I just got off a board meeting, so I must say this. If you have not ever considered your city being an international city of peace, think about that. Internationalcityofpeace.org. I'm number 323, Santa Barbara is. And it's a citizens movement. If we get enough cities of peace on the planet, enough Rotary clubs to believe in peace and read Karen's book, what a planet this will be. And finally, I just say thank you for joining us on peacepodcast.org. And I hope to hear from you. It's Barbara Mueller at peacepodcast.org. Thank you, Karen, again.
Thank you, Barbara. You're a delight.
And so are you. And with that, people, we wouldn't be here without you. I always say, if you have time to watch this, invite a friend to join you, because it's the conversation or the music that you hear as you watch us. And I hope that you have a peaceful day, and peace is possible. Thank you for joining us again, Karen. And thank you, listeners. We need you to be with us.